Come on, then, Kassan, what's your next one?
This one is directed to Cloud9.
Directed to.
I was ready to
I like the way. I like the way
No,
that.
not yours, the team.
Oh,
The
right,
thing
there
is,
you go. Okay, it sounds like it sounded like you're just using one hot take per show to just take down one org you don't like. You know, it's like you just got a list on the wall behind you.
I got nothing against Cloud9.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
They're fine in my books. But the thing is, like, I don't think Buster is making past the second major of the year, and that's very optimistic. Like, I'm being very mild here. I think after what I saw on the games in Katowice and like the way they play and the positioning they have and all the shit that happened to them, I think it's a clear. Obviously, we all said it before. It was a mistake to get Buster. Okay, if you want to get Inters, if you're gonna get Inters out, that's fine. But getting Buster on his position was an absolute mistake. Like 100%. I'm 100% sure with that one, because we have seen him playing spot for spot in some position. Now you were with me when we watched the Mirage game where he's like playing B, and then like there's so many awkward situations for him. It looks ridiculous. I don't think, and also the game, the style of Cloud9 and Nafany's interview after the games, it's like all the calling, it's all backwards when it comes to this team. I don't know if it's Nafany's fault. I know Maui is like always, going against him, but I don't think it's entirely his fault. I think it's fault of at least part of it of Groove. I think he's not like switching up his game. I think they're very predictable. They're very one-dimensional, stale, and getting Buster was like trying to put a band-aid to a problem, and ended up like making it worse, just infecting the whole wound, and God knows what's gonna happen, and until they remove the whole
Now you
problem.
got to amputate. Okay, I see where the analogy's going. Right.
Yes. Then
And if we don't, and here's the thing: if you don't watch out now, you're going to lose the whole bottom half, the Fani and
Yes,
Buster.
exactly.
You have to cut off at the legs at this point. Exactly, the whole thing.
Yeah, just kill it. The thing is, like, just they have to make that switch, and I don't think Buster is gonna be sitting in that team for a while, for a very long time. I think his days are very limited if they continue to play the way they play right now. Not in terms of results, because they're gonna come, based on the calls and the style and the shit they're doing right now, which is completely, out of meta, out of everything. And they have two best players, one of the two top 5 players in the world, which is absolutely ridiculous, not managing to get anything. But that's a whole other subject. Anyway, Buster not making it past the second major of the year, which is like October or something. And that's me being generous.
By the way, just before you start, Maui, I will just say for comedic purposes, for Europeans, you might not know this, maybe you will from rap music, but the word Buster actually is slang in American, and here's all the different meanings on Urban Dictionary. So one is a person that acts like a coward or shows weakness or not worthy of respect. This one's even better. This is actually what it says: ghetto usage, one who destroys the moment. And it goes, usually ending an enjoyable event, causing negative results. I've always said, by the way, 'cause it's actually a real thing if people don't know, like the occult world of like names are like very important. They have like symbology. And it's like, so you've always got to be really careful what you name yourself. So like, fucking hell, mate. Go on, Maui, what's your take on this topic?
Well, I mean, I think I started the whole nafany hate train, and I'm still on it. We're still chugging along pretty
Full
strong.
steam ahead. Yeah, sure.
And I think that people are somehow latching themselves on, even though I've already left the station years ago, or like a year ago, basically at this point. But with Buster, yeah, I think that one guy I got to shout out is that C9 Win guy. He did a video on Buster, and he kind of gave his thoughts. He went through all the demos at Katowice of how Buster played, and he did like a really nice breakdown of like he was being nice, because he's not going to be mean to the team, because he is a Cloud9 fan, but he showed all the mistakes. And I watched that one last night because he published it, and it was like, it's just numerous ones where he's messing up nades, where he's having a nade out when he should have his gun out. He's not ready to trade. His positioning is off. There are so many errors that he highlighted, and they barely even played at this event. They had they played IHC twice, and they played Navi, and in like, what is it, 5 maps of play, over a dozen mistakes, round losing mistakes too. So I do think that Buster I never thought Buster was going to change this team, but now I know that he hurts the team, and so I like you giving this time frame, Kassad, for when he's going to be out of this lineup, because I think that they might scapegoat him again, but honestly, this time's not even a scapegoat like Inter's was. This one is more like, yeah, he actually is bad, and I just hope this doesn't extend like nafany's life on the team anymore, because this is something that happens too, where you bring in a player who is not the answer or the fix, and he's actually making you worse, and then you think, it's just because we made the wrong move there, and then it's going to prolong this whole process of getting rid of nafany, and that's just, to me, like, again, you're just keeping Cloud9 in this holding period of basically Shiro and Axile playing the world's best Counter-Strike, and then a style of CS that is never going to actually use their abilities to the fullest.
Yeah, the thing with this ticket, first of all, I'll just address, since you brought him up, that C9 win guy. You're probably going to think, what the hell, Thorin? You even did that like amazing interview where you revealed all your thoughts about Cloud. Yeah, I just did that to be magnanimous. I will just say this. That guy did once try to criticize me on Twitter on the basis that I was too harsh. Are you ready? About that fucking NA lineup with like Sonic and Motum, etc. And he was one of the people, don't worry, homie. All the opinions go on the board and they all count forever. There's no fucking games off. All my opinions, I stand behind them all, right? He was one of those people, for real, who after like 1 year was still like, give them time. So that's your Cloud9, homie. Your Cloud9 is JT, Motum, fucking Sonic. By the way, half these players aren't even in CS anymore. Fucking Floppy and Orsi. So there you go. That's your players. That's who you're riding with. Oh, you like all these mega fucking sick players now from Russia, don't you? Yeah, it's weird all that way. Shut the fuck up. By the way, the whole NA scene should be embarrassed about that one. I told you the day they joined Cloud9 it would never do anything, that lineup. But you're all so fucked in the head. You thought this was some like fucking Disney feel-good movie, and they were going to fly in Ducks, fucking Mighty Ducks fly in V their way to a championship. Like, you don't just sit there and go, but if we just, like, there's a reason the best teams in the world chop and change and make the harsh move when you have to. And I tell you what, when there's a guy he came up with that was a friend of yours, but he's not good, you cut him. It's what you have to do. I always say you can be friends outside the event. In fact, you know what? How about you go win the major, get all that money, you fucking treat him to dinner. Shut the fuck up, you idiot. It's not a fucking friendship club. It's a game, innit? So I'll just put that out there generally, because that's just, because as you're saying, he is like the avatar of Cloud9 fans in that sense. It's like, if you settle for that on the basis they're in here, the joke is I'd way rather have some like difficult to deal with Russians who aren't anywhere in North America, but might win. I tell you what, there'll be a load of Cloud9 fans if this team ever wins a major. They'll all be fucking born again Russians in that regard. Like, it'll be ridiculous. So the problem with this team, you nailed it at the end there, Maui, is the reason why I actually feel like it's not even just about Buster, it's not just about Hobbit, it's not just about nafany. It feels inevitable this team in the next few years is either going to go to the absolute top and win a whole bunch of trophies, or they are going to have like a revolving door of cuts in the team. And the reason why is what you said at the end, because two of the players cannot be blamed. Fucking Shiro and Axar are legitimately two of the top 5 or 6 players in the world. That wasn't a fluke when they put them in that ranking. It was right. They just are. And when you have two and there's no overlap in style, they're totally different weapons, and they're the two types of star you really would want. Like, look, I know everyone wants the aggressive AWPer. Give me the fucking god defensive AWPer and then an amazing aggressive rifler. That's like, if you're making a team, Kassad, on paper with androids, you start with those two, and then you put a good IGL in, mate, you can almost not go wrong at this point. So that's why, unfortunately, everyone else in the team, you've got a fucking ticking clock, you've got the sword of Damocles hanging over you. So I actually thought a really good one, you might have seen this on Twitter, that Gomez said, the old Renegades guy, I thought he had a banger suggestion, which was, just like with Crimson Fnatic, if you can keep super vets, you generally want to reposition them if they can still play, because they can contribute so much extra, they don't choke in the matches. So his idea was, maybe you just get someone like Hobbit and try and transition him into either Buster's role. That'd be an interesting angle, right? You keep, essentially that means you could bring in a fucking another star player, you could bring in another rifler, right? You could bring in a Patsy or someone like that, maybe someone like that comes across, or someone from Falls or something. I actually think that's an interesting pivot, but I do think eventually, to Maui's point, you can keep changing all you want. Eventually, some of these roads have to lead to nafany. Like, I would just spin it the other way, because I've started doing this. The way I save time in arguments now is, I just ask someone really early on, right, what's your falsifiable position? Like, what scenario happens that makes you wrong? And if they can't answer the question, they're not arguing in good faith. What they're doing is just going, oh, this reason's why you're wrong. It's like, okay, well, then what would happen that would make you be proven wrong? So what I would say in this scenario is, what can get nafany cut from the team? Because as far as I can tell, the only reason he wouldn't be cut at some point in the future is people think he's the one doing what Shiro and Axile do. And the problem with that is I think actually, again, this is really bad. There's a lot of star players I do often think like, nah, you never know how it'll go though if you take the IGL out. When I watch these two guys play, I don't think it has any connection to how the calling's done. In fact, the joke is I actually think sometimes the calling like limits them. It just holds them in position. You know what I mean? Like, I actually think they're not a team that seems to just turn, like Shiro definitely doesn't get turned loose. He's part of the system. And so I don't know. I don't hate on nafany. If the team succeeded, I'd go, you must be doing something. But like, if it doesn't succeed, I have to logically think you're not doing something, right? So I'm kind of a bit out on the team in general. And I do think, unfortunately, I'm really sick of these performances where they go out super early and then I go look like the star's still fragged out. What is that? Because I can put it this way. Maybe it's one of my takes in a minute. I won't let anyone talk shit on Carrigan at this event. Like, go look at his fucking stars numbers. What is he supposed to do? He was never crushing everyone anyway. He never had simple. You know what I mean? But nafany, the joke is nafany low-key does have like simple light and fucking Nico light on the same team, and then he can't even get past like the first round. You know what I mean? That's outrageous, isn't it?
Just looking at rating on this event,
it's mental, isn't it?
Axile has a better rating than Naf, and Shiro has a better rating than Simple. Like, how did you not win a game at the main event of
It's wild, isn't it? It's wild.
I'm telling you, I honestly think it's 70-30. The blame goes to coach, and
I mean, coach certainly can be included as well. Yeah, if you think how long they've had these problems.
Let's go back. If you go back in 2021 and 2020, every single interview they did post game, post win, it's all about, yes, I want to say thank you to our coach and an analyst.
True.
Because they're the ones who made the game plan. They're the ones who organized everything. They're the ones who did everything. And now, what happens now? Did that change? Did they not make game plans anymore? Are they not creating strats anymore? Who is it? Is it nafany only? And, fuck you, Groove, fuck you, whoever is there. It's like it's all him. I don't think so. I think it's the coaching staff not taking responsibility there.
Here's the only downside, because I do think Groove in general has done an amazing job in his career, especially when he was with Gambit with all those teams. But the problem is this. The joke would be, if you look historically what he's done, I'd say just make him the general manager. But the joke is, if he's the one who just chose to bring Buster in, you know what I mean?
Then he doesn't,
Exactly. It's like, I don't know about that one. So
I mean, he's allowed to make one mistake.
You can make a mistake.
If he brought in Shiro and Exile and all these players together, like, he's allowed that mistake. But, not anymore. Like,
yes,
that's the one you are allowed.
It almost feels like the way they got Buster was through interviews and not actually looking at his last year of play. Because I'm sure with being the vet that he is, he said all the right things. But you look at the fact, I mean, we brought it up last show. It's just that his numbers were literally worse than Inter's, and he was already playing his positions on a team that wasn't having that much worse success. So there was no reason he shouldn't have been performing better.
No, by the way, I know what you mean, because this is like the problem. It's why obviously you don't, in like an interview, you wouldn't, for example, tell someone in like a big interview, like exactly what you were looking for. You keep it quite vague so that they have to like present themselves. The joke is, it sounds like in the interview, he was like, obviously he knows everyone, like Inter's had the most defined roles of like anyone in CIS region. So the joke is, you can imagine Buster, like, thing about me is I've always thought I don't take a lot of resources. I'm more the guy who's giving resources, and then I kind of like, it's a bit weird. A lot of people, don't tell anyone this, is a bit embarrassing, but I sort of like to be the last left on a site sometimes when the rotation goes off. I know most people prefer to be the one rotating, but I like to be the one that allows the like, you know what I mean? It just sounds like you just said everything they want, and they went, this is amazing.
I don't mind jumping B on B holes all the time and just holding the flash. I don't mind it. I actually prefer it. Like,
exactly. And then they're like, it's exactly the guy. Get it. Wait, can you sign today? Can you start tomorrow? It's like, give me a break. This guy's played you. He's actually played. I hope at the front, at least he was like, and I'll tell you what, this will sound really weird, but I don't want like a long contract. I just want a lot of upfront signing bonus. Like, you know what I mean? Because the joke is, even he must know he wasn't going to be good coming in. Because that's the worst part, isn't it? The fact he wasn't even playing CS. Like, what? And by the way, I'll tell you the bullet that has been dodged. Do you remember last year, the rumor was maybe it would be Na'Vi who would sign Buster?
Yeah.
Mate, Navi's already got enough problems. Imagine they'd signed him. And also, can you even imagine Simple? Bro, what I actually do low-key love about Simple, even though I think professionally it's trash, just as a stupid fan, I think it's hilarious that he would just be like openly just going like, those rounds where some Die Young wouldn't even make an egregious mistake, he just would die. And then Simple was dead already. And Simple would just say in Russian like, why the fuck do I have to play with this guy? And it's like, we're going to see you on camera, bro. Like at least do that. So, like in the NFL where they like hide the strat. Like, he doesn't even, he's like, you can just see, you can just read his lips like, oh, why'd I have to play with this trash? Anyway, go team, I can't.
Drop him.
I know, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, I love also at the end of last year
Wild,
when they knew SDY was already going to get kicked from the team and Simple kept going in.
Oh, it was mental,
SDY when he was sitting
I
next to
know.
him was like the worst teammate to have, but also, and SDY just like doesn't even move or like, he's just dissociating that entire time for sure.
No,
He's
the
just
worst
looking
thing,
right at his screen.
I actually think the dirtiest thing they did there was exactly that. They did the move where everyone knows you cut and you're getting kicked, and then they don't give you any rope at the end. And the joke is you just look so shit at the end, they can't be criticised at all for the kick. They're like, what do you know? He's just total trash, isn't he? It's like, you made me look like that. Like the joke is in this scenario, it's like if you were in those old like trench warfare, and in this scenario, Navi's like, right, over the top guys, and then as STY goes up, they just like pull back the others like, wait a second. And he just goes over on his own into no man's like, help, what? That's like how they did this guy at the end. Like, he was never that great a player, but come on, guys. Fucking try. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.